Hi everyone, Shane R. Monroe here, and today the Caperave 14-inch monitor, hope that's how you pronounce it. It claims 1080p on the back, but I'm going to stick with the Amazon listing saying it's 1200p, making it a 16:10 aspect ratio. Perfect for the deck. Here we have our plush carrying case here. I love these things. My other one had one of these too. I love it. Very soft. Here's the monitor itself. We'll get back to that. Have a quick start guide, of course, to help you out, give you a basic introduction. These things, you know, these aren't rockets. You're not going to need a science degree to use these things, but it does include all the sort of basics things and the configuration things you may be interested in, including Samsung DeX mode, using it with the Nintendo Switch, etc., etc. But again, listen, it's HDMI in or USB-C in. It's, again, not rocket science. And if you need the full-blown manual, it's in here as well. Little warranty card action there for you. Yeah, great. And we have here an included HDMI cable, always a nice bonus when they throw one in. Great. And we have two other cables in here as well. Let's take a look at this guy first. This is your standard A to C plug, which I'm assuming is for power, right? Pretty straightforward, because there is a power brick with this, which also doesn't usually happen with these monitors. You're expected to provide your own power. And of course, we have a USB-C to USB-C cable that you'll be plugging into your product into the monitor, be it your deck or whatever. Now, this is interesting. The power box had a hole in it, and I sat there for a minute trying to figure that out, but I realized the prongs probably slammed on the box during shipment. I can only imagine what people are doing with these boxes when they're shipping. See, the prongs are sitting right there. And this is your standard cheapy power adapter just to get some juice to the monitor. Okay, so let's take a look at this guy. It's very attractive. It's small bezel, anti-glare screen, IPS. On the side here, we have a rocker and a button for your on-screen display, along with a USB-A plug. Everything is nicely noted on the back. I love when they do that. Some of them don't do that. And then on the side here, we have a full-size HDMI port, USB-C for power, headphone jack, as well as USB-C. All right, on the back, we have our very nice kickstand. It's smaller than the other monitor that I have, but it is adjustable. It's tight. It doesn't feel cheap. That's kind of what we're looking for. And so we have a variety of degrees that you could put this guy, so we could stand it up a little bit for a different angle. It works well enough. Not my favorite kickstand, but better than having to stick a pen inside of it or something. I really like that anti-glare. Here we have the main features, IPS, stupid camera, blue lights, FreeSync, HDR, speakers, right? So it's kind of the sales pitch if this was on a store shelf somewhere. Now here it is compared to my 15.6-inch monitor. I swear to God, these might be from the exact same company, which is great. I understand that the names are different, but it's all coming from the same factory, folks. So I really, really like this 15.6 from my last review. And this one you can see, I tried to put the padding in there, but you can kind of see the difference here. It's definitely smaller at 14 inches, but 14 inches isn't a complete deal killer here. And I think from a weight perspective, this 15.6 is a lot heavier. So having this 14-inch being considerably lighter will make travel easier with it. It's very light. I was very impressed by the weight. All right, so I'm gonna stuff it in the bag. It's brand new, so it needs a little bit of force in there. There we go, nice. It's very clean, it perfectly fits. There's no slopping around in there. Easy to pull out, not so much to put in, but that's great. Excellent, I love that kind of thing. No more smart covers for me, screw that. All right, so we're gonna go with a USB-C solution into my LCD Steam Deck. So we're not using a hub. This is USB-C straight in. And we're using my Steam Deck power brick to power the device. Okay, hey, that looks great. I mean, I expected it to look great. It's IPS, it's got the anti-glare. It's again, maybe it's harder to appreciate on a camera versus in person. But let's take a look at the overlay here. You can see we're at 1920 by 1200, which is proper 16:10 ratio, which is exactly what the Steam Deck is. So you have brightness, eco, the standard stuff that you're going to see here. I mean, this shouldn't be any surprise if you've used any monitor ever, but this is how you get around. Pretty much every setting you can think of, along with some presets, which are oddly under the term eco. I thought that was kind of weird, but anyway, you can change to game, movie, photo. You know, again, this is all standard monitor stuff, but it's kind of nice to be able to have these things. I think movie looks great, especially for this game. Contrast, it's all here, folks. I mean, this is all the standard stuff. You also set FreeSync on here as well. So we'll turn that on, and it will identify this as a VRR capable monitor once you do that. So on the Steam Deck itself, you can now turn on VRR. Later on, we'll look at that a little bit. I'm not sure I'm sold on VRR as the ultimate solution, but maybe I'm not using it right. All right, so now let's do the HDMI test. Full-size HDMI. This is plugged into, by the way, the NewQ Pro clip-on hub. Awesome. This all looks fine. I mean, I expected HDMI to work with no problem, and it does. It looks great. I mean, everything looks fine. There's no tearing or problems visually. HDMI looks great. So now you've got something you can plug your Roku in at the hotel if you wanted to. I think this is great. Full-size HDMI for the win. All right, let's go over to desktop mode now and check it out. Of course, this is showing up now as an extended monitor. I'm going to plug in a mouse and look at that. It passes the mouse right through the USB bus into the Steam Deck. It's a shame there's only one port on here. I mean, you could use a little hub or something so you could have a mouse and a keyboard, but just one for now. And here's one of my favorite parts. We can now make this screen a perfect clone or a perfect replica of the built-in screen, fully maintaining the 16:10 aspect ratio. No stretching. I think this is a big win. 16:10, when you're using the Steam Deck, this is like the perfect monitor. It's almost like this monitor was made for the Steam Deck. So this works out really well. Let's take a look now. We've got this plugged into power, right? And you can see that I'm at 81%. It says 30 minutes to charge, but it keeps going up. Right now we have 25 watts coming in, almost a perfect 25 watts coming in. That's not enough to play and charge at the same time, not if you're playing some sort of a heavy game. If I plug the power adapter straight, bypassing the monitor, you can now see that we're getting a lot more wattage, right? So the monitor is limiting the amount of throughput of power going from your power adapter. Now, just to make sure that it's not a power problem, I'm going to plug in a 140 watt battery. This should have enough juice to power both at full power. And you can see right now it's sucking about 30 watts. The monitor's taking its 5 and it's passing 25 or so into the Steam Deck. So yeah, what we're talking about here is a physical restriction of the monitor. The monitor is not going to pass through enough to play and charge at the same time. See right here, we're still at 25. So 25 watts is all you're going to get out of the monitor. 25. And that's okay, kind of, because that means that you can play and not lose any battery. So it's still at 81%. The time to charge continues to fluctuate and go up and down, depending on how much power the game is drawing. Now, if you're playing Stardew Valley or something, you might be able to charge and play at the same time, but let's just assume that you're only going to be able to play without losing battery with the power pass-through. All right, so I'm going to jump into Overwatch here, and I am going to turn everything up to epic settings, and you can see my frame rate is jumping all over the place. So obviously what I'm trying to do now is to see how this VRR stuff works. Now, I am no expert in VRR. This is my first experience with it. I'm not sure exactly what to expect. The idea is that the monitor will match the refresh of the frames coming into it, so variable refresh rate. So as we're jumping around with frame rate, it should try to keep things smooth. I guess it's doing an okay job. I mean, I'd actually have to plug in something else and put them side by side, I think, to see the difference. So let's take a look here. We're gonna go ahead and plug in the OLED. And just to make sure everything's fine, the LCD worked fine. I just wanted to make sure everything was good, and everything looks fine. So we can turn on VRR and all that good stuff. And, you know, it all works fine on the OLED too. I just don't want anyone saying, well, did you check the OLED? Yeah, I checked the OLED. It works fine. I'm not going to look at DeX or Switch. I'm going to keep this very Steam Deck focused, but if you'd like to see this monitor with the Switch or the Samsung DeX, by all means, leave a comment down below. Okay, so last test here. I want to see what HDR looks like. Unfortunately, my Horizon Forbidden West save is in the dark. So we went ahead, I turned on HDR, and I can say it looks good. This is also set for 720p right now. Well, I guess I must have changed it to 800. Good. So now you can see here, yeah, it looks great. I mean, darkness is really hard to tell, but I think it looks okay. Let me just double check my settings here. I was at 720. Okay, let's move that to 800. Make sure everything is what it should be. Exclusive full screen. And let's make sure we turn on HDR. It was off. Okay, apply changes. All right, so let's see what we got going on now that we've made all those changes. Not really seeing much on the camera, right? It's hard to say. Let's get out of this darkness with like no detail anyway type thing, and I'll load a different biome and we'll see if the HDR works any better. I mean, it looks great, don't get me wrong. I'm just, you know, the whole HDR versus non-HDR. Now listen, I didn't go in and calibrate it or do any of that stuff, so before you say, Shane, you're not doing it right, yeah, probably not. But I'm trying to do my best to give you something in a succinct time frame. I know you guys hate these longer videos. So let's go ahead and go somewhere where it's a little more sunshiny, a little brighter, a little more color. There we go. I think it looks great. I do. HDR or not, it looks great. So yeah, very nice, very nice. And I am having some variable frame rate things going on here. And it feels decent. I mean, it feels pretty good. This is a 30 FPS game, no matter how you slice it. And it seems to be running as expected. So that's all great. Well, listen, I hope this helped out. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell. You guys know what to do. If you have any further questions, leave a comment down below. I'll do my best to test this with whatever devices that I can. I'm Shane R. Monroe. Thanks so much for watching and take care. We'll see you next time.